Back in 2014, in an interview with Entertainment Weekly, legendary designer Shigeru Miyamoto commented on developing new Star Fox games. Here's what he said. "We worked on some ideas around Star Fox back during the Wii days, but the problem was that we didn't have any new ideas to bring to the game. I wasn't particularly interested in just making another Star Fox game with better graphics and better sound." Now, whether or not you enjoyed Star Fox Zero, the game that ultimately came from this line of thinking, it's clear that this is the motivation that has always stuck with the series. From the original straightforward rail shooter to the strategic combat of Star Fox 2 and Star Fox Command, the branching paths of Star Fox 64, the story-driven Star Fox Adventures, the action-focused Star Fox Assault, or the immersive Star Fox Zero, every game has done something fresh. Now we're starting to hear rumors of a game called Star Fox Grand Prix. Is it real? Who knows? While some may be leery of a new genre for the series, Star Fox has always been one for genre swapping, and upon closer inspection, a Star Fox racer might not be quite as far off from the source material as you might think. So what is the alleged Star Fox Grand Prix? Maybe a mistout. Star Fox Grand Prix is a rumored Diddy Kong Racing inspired racer with F-Zero influences and a strong focus on not just multiplayer, but also a single-player adventure. From a central hub world, you'll take on missions to win access to other missions, fight bosses, and eventually save the world or something. For example, in Diddy Kong Racing, you collected balloons, fought bosses, and then fought a giant pig. But this is Star Fox, so you'll probably fight a monkey man. Wait, what if the big bad is actually Diddy? He became the very evil he sought to destroy. Holy crap, is Diddy Kong Andros? Never mind. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is different, and I'm scared. But before you take to your social platform of choice to blast Nintendo for destroying your childhood, I have 3 points to make. Boot up Diddy Kong Racing, hop in a plane, and do a race. How different is what you're doing from traditional rail-line Star Fox? You're still zipping through a restricted course full of obstacles, collecting power-ups, and even flying through rings. Sure, Diddy Kong Racing doesn't have enemies floating along the track, usually, but Star Fox Grand Prix could easily throw in a few enemies to make it a truly unique racer. The only thing that keeps traditional Star Fox from being a racing game in the first place is that you're alone. Boot up 2 copies of Star Fox at the same time and boom, you got a racing game. Secondly, I want to point out how perfect a fit the Star Fox universe is for this style of game. Not only do you have a galaxy of planets and nebulas to draw from, but you have a huge cast of characters, many of whom already have their own unique ships. Not only that, but the Star Fox team itself is comprised of land, sea, and air vehicles. Imagine racing R-Wing walkers or those cool-looking Wolfen Zoid things through the busy streets of Corneria. Imagine speedily navigating the tangly growth of Fortuna. This universe is so perfect for a racing game, it's honestly kind of amazing one doesn't already exist. Finally, I want to remind you that spin-offs and experimental gameplay changes are not only okay, but they are in fact responsible for some of the best games ever made. My favorite example has always been Mario 64, which shares almost no similarities with previous Mario titles beyond jumping. But how about something that hits a bit closer to home for Retro? Yeah, did we mention that Retro is supposedly making this game? Metroid Prime takes all of the core gameplay ideas from Super Metroid and presents it as a first-person shooter. If you shrug off the incredible reputation the Prime series has now and look at that statement for what it is, it sounds crazy, and I guarantee you at the time, it sounded crazier. Star Fox Grand Prix seems to be built off of a very similar idea. Embrace the core gameplay hook of classic Star Fox while completely changing the way we interact with it. Now, if you've been around here for a while, you know that I have a mild interest in Star Fox. Alright, well, a moderate interest. Realistically, Nintendo could throw Star Fox branding on a mitten, and I'd get hyped for it. So I just want to take a moment to take an objective look at why anyone, not just me, should be excited for the rumored Star Fox Grand Prix. Back when Mario Kart 8 Deluxe released on Nintendo Switch, my site director predecessor Neil Ronahan made an excellent video on the state of single player in the Mario Kart franchise and noted how it had devolved from a high point in Mario Kart DS to virtual non-existence in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Star Fox Grand Prix, on the other hand, seems to put a greater focus on a substantial and separate single-player experience. When was the last racing game you played with a legit hub world? But that's not all. There's a reason to be excited for multiplayer as well. During the lead up to Star Fox Zero, the lack of multiplayer options beyond the split control co-op offered in the final game was a regular complaint. While other Star Fox games have included multiplayer, including Star Fox Assault, which was extremely fun to play with friends, none of them captured that classic Star Fox gameplay. Star Fox Grand Prix could be the first honest attempt to bring a realigned Star Fox experience to multiple players at the same time, and it's very exciting to see where Nintendo could take this, not just in Grand Prix, but in future Star Fox games as well. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, Star Fox Grand Prix isn't an origin story. Of the 9 Star Fox games that have been released, 3 of them are reimaginings of the original Star Fox game. That means that 4, about half the series, has been the same plot over and over again. Don't get me wrong, the Lilat Wars are a pretty cool story, but I've pretty much got it down at this point in 2D, 3D, SD, and HD. Star Fox Grand Prix represents a willingness to take the series someplace new, and while I don't expect an amazing plot from a racing game, I do expect something new. With that in mind, I'm extremely excited, both because I love the Star Fox series and because I wouldn't mind a spiritual sequel to Diddy Kong Racing. But what do you think? Is this Star Fox Grand Prix rumor true? If so, is it a good idea, or would you rather see Nintendo bring back F-Zero or Diddy Kong Racing? Leave a comment below and let me know. Don't forget to subscribe to Nintendo World Report TV, and for even more great Nintendo coverage, check out nintendoworldreport.com. If you want to support the content we make here, check out patreon.com/NWR.